So we still have earnings season going on. Believe it or not, we still have few very important companies who are about to report. And one of the important companies that I have been following on this channel is Nvidia. I'm really bullish on Nvidia and I really like the company for what they are doing in metaverse, in automotive, in overall chip market. And one of the things that I get out of Nvidia earnings is the supply chain issues and how they're going to navigate in the coming days. So Nvidia is set to report the earnings today, and this is a preview of what the earnings might have in store for us. Now, again, I'm bullish on the company for the long term, but of course, short term, everything is being beaten down. Look what happened to Roblox. Look what happened to Upstart. You have no idea about what the companies will come out because there is no direction, and you don't know what market would assume or take and then run with it. So let's do this. I'm going to actually break down Nvidia earnings and then some expectation and also what I'm doing with the stock. So let me share my screen and let's get started. So this wonderful article from Bloomberg actually talks about Nvidia earnings and also talk about what to expect in the coming earnings. So Nvidia, the most valuable chip maker, will report fourth quarter earnings that will offer a progress report as chief executive officer pushed to get the company's graphic chip technology into new markets. Now, this is important over here. The performance of Nvidia's data center unit will be key for repaying the faith that investors have shown in bidding up its shares. Now, Nvidia has been up really well in the last few months, I would say. And I had some calls which I sold to kind of raise some cash because I know this is some exciting times in the market. Okay, so this is what they are estimating. Fourth quarter, adjusted EPS estimate 1.22, that's a consensus. Revenue estimate 7.42 billion. Data center revenue estimate 3.15 billion and gaming revenue estimate 3.36 billion. I think they are going to have a huge beat on the data center because that's one of the things that they are really growing very aggressively and very fast, and they have done some massive investment in that field. So I think they are going to do wonderful in this sector. Now, this point right here, professional visualization revenue estimate 572.2 million. This is their metaverse. This is really interesting for the company with what they are doing on the commercial side of metaverse, which of course will have a much bigger revenue and much faster revenue than Facebook or Meta is planning in the next 10 years. Again, automotive revenue estimate 147.2 million. I expect this to continue to grow like leaps and bounds because all the companies are using Nvidia, or most of the companies, I should say, in automotive world are using Nvidia chips. Adjusted gross margin revenue 67.1%, operating expense 1.43 billion. Now take a look at this analyst commentary. So we see a backdrop of strong fundamentals for both the gaming and the data center business. For gaming, while retail prices for graphic cards have started to come in, they still remain only above 170% of MSRP. Only above 170% of MSRP. This is crazy with what kind of revenue they are generating from their chips. First quarter revenue estimate 7.22 billion. Now remember, first quarter is always slow because we are just coming out of the holiday season. So first quarter is usually slow for the companies. But if you see over here, the fourth quarter revenue is 7.42 billion and revenue for the first quarter is 7.22 billion. Still very strong. Adjusted gross margin estimate 67.1%, operating expense 1.46. 2023 year revenue estimate is 31.77 billion. This is very bullish for the company of what they are doing. They have done some huge investment that I have covered in my previous videos. So I'm very excited for the earnings for many reasons. But before I get into it, take a look over here. So this is the data. Now, if you see, we have about 39 buys right here, 6 holds and 2 sells. Average price point or price target is $344.83, which is about 32% upside from the current price. Now, if you pay attention to their earnings call last time that it happened in Q3 of 2022, they mentioned few things which came true for Q4 and also for the stock market. The CEO mentioned in the earnings call that we are going to see the supply chain issue continue in very well into the second half of 2022. And we are seeing this right now. They said that their data center business is going to grow like crazy, and which we are going to find out in this earnings report how true was that. So I will be actually listening to the earnings call because this is one of the few earnings calls that give a direction to the market because they are the chip maker. They are being used in many different industries. So their earnings call tells us about what to look for as the supply chain issues for the coming year or the coming quarters, and also how the other industries are going to get affected. Because if Nvidia cannot make chips, we know that we are going to see some bottleneck in the automotive industry, some bottleneck in the gaming industry, and all these industries are kind of connected with these kind of companies. AMD, Nvidia, they are very important companies for the tech sector, NASDAQ heavy sector, which I am overall. So it'll be really interesting to see what they report and also what they project for the coming year. That's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to. I hope I provided some value. After the earnings, I'm going to do an earning follow-up video to kind of break down the earnings and also if we have some massive good news or massive bad news. I have some leaps that I'm holding. I have January 2023 $175 call, only one call. I had 4, I sold 3, I only have 1 call. And then also I have some share. I have been dollar cost averaging on Nvidia for a very long time and I continue to plan on doing that in the coming days. I think the earnings will be a beat. The stock is going to go up, but especially with Russia and Ukraine, even though we know that the stock is going to go up, if we know that the earnings will be a beat, a simple tweet on that side is going to have an effect on the stock and overall the stock market. So if you like the video, then consider subscribing and hit the like button. And for more one-on-one conversation, consider joining our Patreon and Discord. Links in the description. As always, a pleasure to share all of this with you. Until next time, you all have a sparkling day.